Welcome all. In this video, we are going to discuss about basics of Python. The points along this journey is identifiers, reserved words and its rules. Then types of lines, how to use indentation, types of multi-line statements and how to add comments in program. Next, use of print function and input function for input or output purpose, and how to process command line arguments. Everything we use in Python is considered as identifiers. Identifiers is a name given to any class, object, function, variables, etc. It contains uppercase, lowercase as well as numbers in it. Identifiers in Python are case sensitive, means uppercase and lowercase letters are distinct. There are certain rules for writing these identifiers. First, combination of letters in lowercase or uppercase or digits or an underscores are allowed. For example, my function. Here some letters are small case and some letters are uppercase. So this is valid example. Or var underscore 11. So combination of small letters with underscores and numbers are valid examples. Next example, here one var is invalid because it starts with digits. In Python, we cannot start the identifiers or variables with digit. So it is invalid. But if you write it like this, var1 means starts with character, after that you can use any number of digits. This is valid, whereas this is invalid. Next, global is equal to 100. Here, global is one type of keyword which have different meaning in this Python programming. So we cannot use this global as an identifier. So keywords are not used as an identifier. Next, $1 is equal to 2019. So here dollar is used as an identifier. So in Python, no special symbols like exclamation, at the rate, hash, dollar, etc. are invalid, but only valid special symbol is underscore. Others are not valid. Next, Python is case sensitive language. Case sensitive means uppercase and lowercase letters are distinct, different. Here, amount is one type of variable and in different way this amount is written. So first, here first letter is capital and remaining letters are in small case. So this is valid identifier. Next is all letters are in capital case or capital letters. So this is also one type of valid example. And next one is amount in small case. This is also a valid example. So all these are different variables because in Python capital letters and small letters are different. Now here we'll discuss some valid examples and invalid examples with its reason. First one is total amount. Here total is in small case, A is capital, and remaining letters are in again small case. So all of you know that uppercase and lowercase letters are allowed in Python. So this is valid identifier. Whereas here total amount with capital A, and here single quotes are used. So this is invalid identifier because quotes are not allowed in Python. Next is total underscore amount. All of you know that capital letters, small letters, and underscore is special symbol which is allowed. So this one is valid identifier. Whereas here in this example, total space amount is used as an identifier name. So space is not allowed. So it is invalid identifier. Next is total sales for 2020. So it is a combination of small case, uppercase and digits. It is allowed. Whereas here 2020 total sale, we cannot begin with digits. So this is invalid identifier. Next one, total sales for 2020 again, but here underscore is used. So combination of capital, small letters, digits and special symbol underscore is allowed. So this is again a valid identifier. Whereas here the identifier starts with underscore and after that letters are there, that is either in capital or small. So it should not begin with underscore. So it is invalid example. Next is keywords or reserve words. Python has a set of keywords that are reserve words. Keywords cannot be used as variable names, function names, or any other identifiers. Keywords has predefined meaning to it. There are total 33 keywords in Python 3. These 33 keywords or reserve words which has special meaning for special purpose are like this: and, which is a logical operator; as, it is used to create an alias; assert, used for debugging; break, to break out of a loop; class, to define a class; continue, to continue the iteration of a loop; def, that is def, to define a function; del, to delete an object; elif, it is used with conditional statements and it's same as else if. Else, used in conditional statements. Except, used with exceptions, what to do when an exception occurs. False, Boolean value which gives results of comparison operation. Finally, it is used with exception, a block of code that will be executed no matter if there is an exception or not. For, to create a for loop. From, to import specific parts of a module. Global, to declare a global variable. If, to make a conditional statement. Import, to import a module. In, to check if a value is present in a list, tuple, etc. Is, to test if two variables are equal. Lambda, to create an anonymous function. None, to represent a null value. Non-local, to declare a non-local variable. Not, a logical operator. Or is also a logical operator. pass a null statement, that statement that will do nothing. Raise an exception, return, exit a function and return a value, true, boolean value, result of comparison operations, try, to make a try except statement, while, to create a while loop, with, used to simplify exception handling, and yield, to end a function, returns a generator. All these 33 keywords we can find out using keyword.kw list, which is a sequence containing all the keyword defined for the interpreter. For example, on Python prompt, we can import the module keyword, which contains all these 33 keywords, and I want to print that keyword list, so I'm using print function, then keyword dot kw list, and press enter key. I get all these 33 keywords. Next is lines. Python programs are divided into logical lines and physical lines. Logical lines. The end of logical line represented by a token new line. Statements in Python cannot cross logical line boundaries except where new line is allowed by the syntax. Compound statements can break into multiple lines. Here compound statements means group of statements. Logical line is constructed from one or more physical lines and by implicit or explicit line joining rules. Physical lines, which is a sequence of characters terminated by an end of line sequence. Means physically I am pressing enter key or /n or end of line character. Here one statement is on one line. Python doesn't use semicolon at the end of the line, just like in other programming languages C, C++, Java, etc. First example, terminated by /n. On Python prompt, if I write some statement like this, my name is equal to Van Rossum, and I want to continue another statement but on next line, so I physically press enter or new line character. Next, also I can add multiple statements in one line separated by semicolon. So see here, these are different statements. These are separated by semicolon, but at the end there is no semicolon. Instead of that, new line character or enter key is pressed. It is called as physical lines. Next is multi-line statements. Some statements may become very long and may force you to scroll the screen left and right frequently. You can feed your code in such a way that you do not have to scroll here and there. So Python allows you to write a single statement in multiple lines, are also known as line continuation. Line continuation enhances readability as well. So multi-line statements are of two types: explicit line joining and implicit line joining. Explicit line joining: two or more physical lines joined into logical lines using \character. When you use the line continuation character, that is backslash, it splits a statement into multiple lines. When a physical line ends with backslash, that is not considered as a part of string or comment, then it is joined with the forming a single logical line, deleting backslash and then following end of line character. A line ending with backslash cannot carry a comment. It also cannot carry continue a comment. For example, here three different identifiers or variables are there: year, month and day with its some values. And I am writing one condition: if 1900 is less than this year, 2100, and 1 is less than or equal to month, less than or equal to 12. So here, to continue this line, I am explicitly or forcefully adding this backslash character. So this indicates that it is a continuation part of this if condition. So this is called as explicit line joining. So it ends here and also it ends here. It looks like valid date, and at the end print valid date. So this is continuation of this statement. Implicit line joining. Expressions in brackets such as round, square or curly used to split single statements into more than physical line without using backslashes is called as implicit line joining. So here day names are stored and these are divided into multiple lines instead of single line, but there is no backslash is used. It is called as implicit line joining. For example, my var is equal to, in round bracket I am writing some expression, and on next line I am printing the result. So I get the output as 600. So this is implicit line joining. Next topic is indentation. It refers to the spaces at the beginning of the code, where in other programming languages the indentation in code is for readability purpose only. In Python, indentation is very important. Python uses indentation to indicate a block of code. The statements with the same indentation belongs to the same group called a suite. For example, here I am declaring one variable, the world is round, and I am assigning true value to this variable. After that, I am checking one condition: if the world is round, check this condition. If this condition is true, here I am adding indentation of some spaces at the beginning of the code, and some message is printed on screen. On next line also I am adding indentation for another print statement. So this whole is called as suite. The statements with the same indentation belongs to the same group is called suite. Comments. If we want any Python statement not get evaluated, we can make that line as comment line by adding hash character in the beginning of the line. For example, here I am adding one comment, begin of program. This hash character or comment are added with the purpose of making the source code easier for humans to understand, and generally these are ignored by the interpreter. So see here, hash begin of program, print hello world. So only hello world is displayed, begin of program is ignored by interpreter. Unlike other programming languages, Python doesn't support multi-line comment. To add multi-line comment, you could insert a hash for each line. For example, here two lines are added with hash as a comment, and after that one print function is added with message hello world. As an output, only hello world message is displayed, that two comment lines are ignored by the interpreter. Like this we can use multiple line comment. To make any program interactive, we need to add input or output statements in program, and here it is possible with the help of print and input functions. First one, input in Python. Here inbuilt function input is available, which reads input from console. It reads input in string format. For example, here I am declaring one variable myvar, and I am taking input from console. For that purpose I am using input function. From console I am giving the message as hello. This hello is stored in myvar variable. When I write myvar will store this hello in the form of string format. One more function is available for input in Python, that is type function, which will check data type of variable. For example, here I am declaring one variable my age, and here using input function I am taking input from user and storing it in my age. Enter your age. User will give age value as 24, suppose. That 24 is stored in my age. If I write my age, it shows me 24 in single quotes, that is it is a string format. If I want to check data type of my age, I will type my age. It shows me string data type. Now same input I am writing, but it is typecasted with integer, that is int of that input, enter your age. User will enter the age as 24. Now my age is stored without single quotes, that is integer type. If I want to check my age data type, I will write type my age, its data type is integer. For output purpose, print function is available in Python, which is built-in function, and it is used for print the output on the console. For example, here I am writing print function with message as hello world. This hello world is in double quotes. So as an output I get hello world message. Now next, print function with single quotes. I am adding two single quotes messages separated by comma. Learn Python. So I get learn Python as an output. So like this, print function is available to print the output on the console. Formatted printing. Sometimes default printing rules aren't helpful to get what we want. So we can specify the exact format for output by providing format string. For example, if I want to calculate area of a circle, all of you know that area of circle is calculated with the help of the formula pi r square. So I'm using one variable area, and here pi value, that is 3.14, multiplied by radius, that is 5, multiplied by 5, r square, that is 5 multiplied by 5. So I want formatted printing output. So print function I am using, the area of circle is %f, because my result is in float which is stored in area. So formatted a string %f is used, and formatted printing %area is used to display the result. Next topic is command line arguments and processing of command line arguments. The arguments that are given after the name of the program is known as command line shell of the operating system, are known as command line arguments. Python provides a get opt module that will help you to parse command line options and arguments. For example, on my Python prompt, if I execute test.py program with 3 arguments, so get opt module gives me all these arguments, that is this Python test.py argument 1, argument 2, argument 3. Whereas sys module is there, which will provide access to any command line arguments via sys.argv, where argv is argument vector. It will serve for two purposes. Argv, sys.argv gives us list of command line arguments. So in this example, list of command line arguments are test.py, arg1, arg1, arg2 and arg3. Whereas if you want to find the number of command line arguments, you can use len function with parameter sys.argv. So this len function returns us total length of the argument vector. So how many number of arguments are there? Test.py, arg1, arg2, arg3, that is total 4 arguments are there. So this 4 value is written by this len function. Here sys.argv of 0th location will store program name, that is script name. So here program name is test.py. So at 0th location test.py is stored. At 1 location argument 1 is stored. At 2 location argument 2 is stored, and at 3 location argument 3 is stored. Now we'll discuss example. Consider the following program whose name is test.py. In this example, I am importing one module sys, import sys, which will return us argument list and number of arguments. Print number of arguments are, using len function I am printing the total number of arguments. So len sys.argv arguments. Again print the argument list is, using sys.argv I get argument list and it is in the form of string. So as an output when I run this script, Python test.py is my program name with 3 arguments, arg1, arg2 and arg3. When I execute this program, I get the following result. So total number of arguments are 4 arguments. By using len function, these 4 arguments are find out. Then next argument list is test.py, arg1, arg2 and arg3. So first argument is always the script name or program name, and it is also being counted in number of arguments. So 0th location stores test.py, 1 location stores arg1, second location stores arg2 and third location stores arg3. Like this you can process command line arguments. All these points are discussed along this journey. I hope all of you get this. Have a nice day. Thank you. Thank you very much.